Hi everyone, and welcome to the Civil Engineering Workshop hosted by FemEng. This is the third workshop and fourth video in our series. So if you haven't tried the other two workshops, which are aeronautical and biomedical, really recommend you go away and try those because they are filled with some really good stuff. So I'll start by introducing myself. Hopefully you can see me in the top of your screen. My name is Katrina. I am a third year civil engineering student and I'm also on the board for FemEng. So my role on the committee board for FemEng is the Women's Engineering Society representative. This means that I get to organise a 3-day trip to England where 3 members of the FemEng Society go down and take part in networking events, and I also get to keep in touch with WES throughout the year. So civil engineering consists of constructional, structural, transportation and environmental. Civil engineers are often known for building bridges and building roads, but they can also build things such as dams, and they can work alongside architects to build homes and other buildings. Civil engineers have a huge variety of knowledge, from materials such as concrete, which is our bread and butter, to physics and math skills. So now we are going to get into the workshop. We're going to make a bridge. So you guys are going to need the materials on the screen. So you need sellotape, 5 pieces of paper, doesn't matter if it's any different type of paper. You could use scrap paper, it doesn't matter. String, I've got some wool here, so again, doesn't really matter. Scissors, but if you're not comfortable with using scissors, you can use a ruler to cut your paper, or please ask a parent, care, or a guardian for help. And then you will need 2 tins of food. So I've just got 2 tins here, it doesn't matter what food. And if you don't have any canned foods in the house, you could also use a bottle of water filled with water. These are just used for the towers for our bridge. And just to let you guys know, if you have any questions for myself or any of the other mentors, please write it down, or you could even email it to us at our FemEng email, which is on the screen right now. And when we host a Zoom for you for the last Friday workshop, then we could answer any of the questions you might have. So you just want to pause the video now to go away and get your materials, and when you come back, we can get stuck in. So we are going to start off with our first 2 pieces of paper. So I'm just going to get these 2 pieces of paper and just place them on my table. This is because I will be sticking stuff down, so it's protecting the table from sellotape. And then I've got my other 3 pieces of paper. So I'm going to start by making some beams. So I'm going to do this by rolling the paper. So I'm doing it lengthways, rolling the paper, doing it nice and tight. The tighter the better, because that'll make our bridge stronger. So I've just got a tube like this, and I'm just going to use some sellotape to tape it up. I think I'm going to put on 3 bits of sellotape, 1 on each end and 1 in the middle, just to make sure everything's nice and tightly together. So that's number 1. I'm going to do that again with the second piece of paper. So nice and tight. And tape it up again. Okay, so for my final piece of paper, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it in quarters. So just so it helps me, I'm going to fold it first, just so I have a general idea. If you aren't comfortable using scissors, please ask someone for help, or if you watch Tony's video for the aeronautical workshop, you could use the technique of using your ruler to cut paper as well. Okay, so now I've got 4 little bits of paper. And what we're going to do is we are going to roll these as well. So this time I'm going to do the short way. So roll it nice and tight again. So it looks like that. And I'm going to tape it up again. I think this time I'm just going to use 2 bits of paper, because 2 bits of sellotape even, just because it's a wee bit shorter, so it doesn't need so much. So there's that. We're going to do this for all 4 bits of paper. Okay, so now we should have 6 beams, so 4 little ones and 2 big ones. So now I'm going to get my 2 towers. So I've gone for tins, but you could also use water bottles, as I mentioned earlier. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick these on round about just under halfway to the cans. So I'm just going to get a bit of paper, a bit of sellotape, and stick this here. And I'll do the same on the other side. Is that about even? Make sure it's even, because like any bridge that you've probably driven across, the road is fairly flat and even. And then we're going to get the other piece and we're going to do it on the other side, this exact same. So just stick that right on. Okay, so now I've got the outline of my walkway / driving road. So now what we're going to do is we're going to use these to make a truss. So a truss usually comes in triangular shapes, and we use them a lot in civil engineering. And trusses are great because they distribute weight over several different members. So instead of just on these 2, distributes it across 6. And because they're triangular shapes, it means the load is distributed and changed into tension and compression. And so the deck truss, the use of truss on the deck, stiffens the deck and stops the road from swaying, because that wouldn't be ideal if you're driving a car across it. So this is what I'm going to do. It's going to be like a zigzag across the way. So I'm going to stick them down, something like that. So I'm going to start over here, just stick them to the big beam. This one needs to flatten down a bit. Oh, whoops. Breaking my bridge already. I like to squeeze the ends just so they're a bit flatter, so it's easier to stick it down, I think. So just squeeze there, and then sellotape. And sellotape the final one. So now you've got your walkway if it's a pedestrian bridge, or your road if it's one for cars and vehicles to drive on. I think that bit's going to need another bit of sellotape. Okay, great. We've got our bridge. Ooh, need to make sure everything is secure. Okay, so now we're going to make the suspension part. So what I've done is I have cut my wool, which I have, into 4 bits, around maybe about ½ meter in length. So what I'm going to start off with is I'm going to do it around the front here, and about halfway down the beam, I'm going to tie a knot. I think I'm going to do a double knot just so it's extra tight. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap it round the edge of this can here, as you can see. I think I might pop some sellotape on just so it's a little bit secure. And then I'm going to, hopefully you can see, sellotape that to the bit of paper which I laid on my table. Okay, so we're going to repeat that on the other side over here. Do another wee double knot. Wrap it around again, and I'm going to sellotape it on just for extra measure. You can add more sellotape if you want. Go wild. It's your bridge. It's your decision. And once again, I'm going to tape this bit onto the bit of paper down here. Make sure everything's nice and tight and nice and taut. And I'm going to do the exact same on the other side now. Sellotape. Take that up there. Pop that around and down. And last one over on the other side. Oh, it seems like my truss is coming apart a little bit. Keep that in place, hopefully. Take that onto my tower, wrap it round, and then tape it on a bit of paper again. So the bit of paper represents a road. So usually you would go up, you probably go up a little bit towards the bridge and drive across the bridge and come back down on the other side. I think I'm going to add a wee bit more sellotape over here. A few bits more actually. So feel free if you feel like you need to add more, add more. It's your bridge and you are the civil engineer today. I'm going to add some over here to make sure these are all put down. Okay, perfect. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use some little bits of thread now. So I'm just going to cut maybe like 15 centimeters, something like that. And what we usually have between the road and the suspension cables, we usually have smaller cables which go vertically. I'm just going to do one as an example because it's not going to make any difference to our model today, but for actual bridges, it makes a huge amount of difference. So these suspension cables, these ones diagonal here, they carry all the weight from the bridge. So all the weight that's on this bridge goes up through these cables and up to the tower, which takes it straight down to the ground. That's how suspension bridges work. And so these little ones here, these are the smaller cables, they are what takes the weight of the bridge between the two. So usually there's a bit more tighter than that, straight up and down, and it takes the weight from here and it carries up to here. So suspension bridges are great because they can span for really long distances. They can be really tall, so this could be a lot higher up. You can maybe even do 4 cans, and which means that really tall bridges can like go underneath them without any hassle. So now what we're going to do is we're going to try out our bridge. So I've got another can, use whatever you want, and I'm going to pop it just straight on the middle there on my bridge. Oh, do you see it's sagging a little bit, but it's generally okay. This is because we have built the bridge to be nice and strong. So what I would love to do is I would love for you guys to see how much more you could try. Like you could try a bag of rice, maybe like a kilo. You could try something heavier. Please send us photos of how your bridges turned out. Maybe if you want to decorate them a little bit. We would love to see any photos, and please let us know how you found this activity when we have the Zoom. If you've got any questions, bring them along to the Zoom or email us at femeng@gues.org. And next week you will be doing a mechanical workshop. Mechanical workshop, you will need a coat hanger, a toilet roll, just like this one, or a kitchen roll, string, paper, sellotape, scissors, pencil, and possibly glue. I hope you guys have had a really great day today and that your bridges worked out really well. Hopefully you'll be able to get a bit more weight on than mine. I'd love to see how they turn out. Bye for now.